for a stabilizer. You can work with any other. It mustn't be a leather for a stabilizer on interfacing. You can work with Marco. You can work with carry board. You can also work with Faber, depending on the one you prefer to work with. So in this case, I'm using a medium thick leather to work as a stabilizer or interfacing. So I'm still working, trying to cut out the flap of the bag, which is this part of the bag. It's Ankara bag part of the bag. So remember, the flap is going to be something like this, going to come out like this. So I'm just going to, okay, part of it is not obvious. I'm going to redo this again. Okay, so I'm just going to cut out. My scissors is a bit blunt. I'll not be able to file it or get new scissors. Hope you can see, I'm just trying to cut on the line. Put this aside. Just cutting out the parts of the bag. So I'm going to be using these ones as stabilizer to make the bag hard. I'm making a sturdy or hard bag today. So it's like this frame, we just go across it this way. Okay, so if you're going to be using it as a flap, it's going to come out like this. So to make sure the color contrasts, you use a separate material for the frame and a separate material for this one. So I'm going to be using Ankara for this part, and I'm going to be using a green material for this. Okay, I'm going to be using this material, which is a green fabric, for this frame, and I'm going to be using this material, this Ankara material, for this part of it. Let me show you the way it's going to turn out. As I said before, this is the one done by my apprentice, so she was trying to practice. So for this part, I'm going to be using a green material. For this, I'm going to be using this Ankara material. Okay, so I'm still trying to cut out the parts. As I said before, I'm going to be doing a separate detailed video for this. So this is just the cut. Today's live streaming is just to cut out the parts of the bag. So I wouldn't want to waste this, so I'll make sure I manage it as much as possible. I mean, the material, I don't want to waste it. I'll make sure this template gets to the edge so that I don't waste my leather. So I'm going to be marking around it to cut it out. So as you are trying to mark, make sure you are moving your fingers to the area you are marking, because when, for instance, you are marking and your fingers might just shift away from the direction you want it to go. So just make sure you hold your finger tightly on it, and as you are marking, make sure your finger is going around the parts you are marking. So I'm just going to mark out. This is the wrong side. Okay, if it's not that obvious, you can use your ruler to kind of make it obvious. So I feel this is obvious enough. So I'm just going to be cutting parts out. So I don't want to work with the entire this thing. To make it easy for me to cut out, I'll just cut out parts. Remember, I'm using a thick leather. I keep repeating this as stabilizer. I don't know if you can see it. And this is the back of it. This is sorry, adjust my nose veil. This is the back, and this is this is the front, and this is the back. So this eye looks. Just cut more out so that it will be easy for me to work with. So guys, always make sure you follow my live video, because as though I'm doing a full course doing live videos, so I'll just teach you the very step by step. Because when you watch other tutorials that are not live, those ones, they are always edited, though not very edited, but they are always edited. But this one, when you watch my video live, it's like you are seeing everything I'm doing live. No addition, no subtraction. Okay, so I'm just going to be cutting out. So what I did there, I just cut a bit out so that it will be easy for me. I will not stress myself out. So the reason it's taking a bit of time is because the scissors is blunt. So if you don't want your scissors to get blunt quickly, always use a separate scissors you use in cutting out your leather. The scissors you use in cutting out your leather material, your stabilizer material, should be different from the one you use in cutting out your fabric. Like, just have different scissors for different purposes. I also use other cutting tools, like a what's it called? The other cutting tools that you can use aside from scissors. So I'm just cutting on the line. I'm trying to cut on the line. So do not forget, as I said before, we are making something. This is my apprentice work. So the flap of the bag is going to be something like this. This part is this part that I just cut out. And let me show you the frame of it. So as I said, it's just going to be something like this. Okay, you have the flap to be something like okay, something like this. So it's going to be a very fine bag, Ankara bag. So this material here, this Ankara fabric, Africa print, I'm going to be using this for this, and I'm going to be using this green material for this part, which is this leather part, because you can see it kind of matches with this. So I'm going to like the combination. The combination is going to turn out well. So I'm still trying to cut out the parts of the bag. I'll be able to cut out these parts and the side panels too of the bag. Side panel, and I've explained how I got the side panel for this. Side panel is going to be something like this. I told you that I cut 1 by 1 inches here on the length and on the width, because I want the side panel to be like this. That will be easy for my flat bed machine to sew through. All right, so we need 2 side panel. So I'm going to cut out the frame of this bag now, the frame, which is this part of it. This part of it. Okay, I did cut it out. Okay, I can't find that now. I was trying to cut it. I'll get that later. So the next thing I'm going to cut out now is the main panel. Sorry, yes, the main panel. I'm trying to get the part. Okay, I'm going to be cutting out the main panel of the bag. The main panel is going to be 2. Okay, I'm just going to use this material here. Trying to get my pen. Don't mind me, I'm a bit disorganized. I didn't put because I didn't plan for this live. So guys, as I said earlier, follow up my life so you can see everything I'm doing step by step. No addition, no subtraction. It's like I'm doing a live course. You know, when you watch other parts of my videos, some of them are edited, but when I'm doing live, you are seeing me live. So I'm trying to cut out the main panel. I'm going to be using 2. And as I said, as I always say, when measuring out, always move your hand. As you are measuring, move your hand to the area you are measuring so that the panel does not move around. But once they move while cutting, you are bound to make mistakes. So these are the precautionary measures you take when making bags. Because any error you make can jeopardize your work. So this is the main panel. This one of it, I'm going to be cutting out two main panels. So let me cut this one out first. So what I'm doing, I'm just cutting on the line straight. Don't forget, I'm using thick leather material. Don't forget, this is the wrong side and this is the front side. You can use Marco, you can use a carry board, you can use Faber, but just ensure that whatever material you are using is thick, because we are making a hard bag, a sturdy bag, and it should be a material that your sewing machine is able to sew through without any problem or difficulty. There are multiple lines here. Let me check. Hope I'm not making mistakes. Okay, see? Alright, so I'm cutting on the wrong mark. I want to cut it like this. Okay. So this one main panel, I'll cut out another main panel to make it 2. Don't forget, this is what I'm using. For those of you that's always asking what I used, I don't know if you can see it, like leather, thick leather. This material is also used by shoemakers. So this is how the back of it look like. This is how the back of it look like, guys. So you can also use Faber too. When you get to market, tell them you want to buy Faber material, especially when you live in Lagos and you go to Mushi market. You tell them bag material. When you make mention of Faber, these are common names that you can use for bag stabilizer, or you can also use Marco, M-A-C-O. There are light Marcos and there are thick Marcos. There are also locally made Marcos and there are also internationally made Marco. So depending on the kind of Marco you want, you can also use carry board. Carry board is like a board, paper in nature. So depending on what you want. So I've cut out one panel. This main panel is the second panel, so I'm just going to cut out a smaller part of it. I don't want to work with the entire material, so it will be easy for me to work with. I just cut out the part I'm going to be working with. So after this, I'm going to be cutting out the bottom of the bag. So I'm just cutting out in smaller pieces. So I'll put this aside. And I'm going to be cutting this out. So you cut on the line, please. Make sure it's straight. If you are marking out and your line is not straight, you can use a ruler to straighten it out. Okay. So as for me, even if this one is not straight, I will be able to identify the part I'm going to cut out, because this is what I do every day. I'm used to it. So as a beginner, once you mark out, you can use your ruler to kind of mark it out and straighten it out. So even when this is not straight, I can easily correct it, because what I do every day. So it will be difficult for me to make mistakes. So just make sure you cut on the line. Okay. Just try and straighten it out. So I have two main panels now. I have two main panels that I'll be working with. I have the big side of it, big side, which is this side of the flap. As I said before, the bag is going to turn out like this. Don't forget, this is the flap of the bag. It's going to be turning out like this. So just make sure you actually keep up with my channel, because I'm going to be doing a separate detailed video on how I drafted out this pattern. In fact, I've started filming already. I've explained it in part 1 of the film. So it's going to be turning out like this. All right. So the side panels have been cut out as well. So I'm just going to cut out the bottom, and the last part for the cutout is going to be this. So I'll cut out the bottom now. Trying to get my bottom part. I'll my practice them. Okay guys, I can't get the bottom now, so I'll just cut out this part, which is the frame of the bag. This is the last part I'm going to be cutting out, which is this part, this leather part. So I'll just cut this part out, and that will be all for today. I cannot get the bottom of the bag now, so I'm going to take my material again. Watch how I'm going to cut this frame parts of it out. Sorry, everything just messed up. I didn't plan for this life. But I'll do my best to make sure you understand everything. Okay. So I'm just going to mark around it. If it's moving around, you can place something on top, something heavy, so it doesn't move around. I'll just place the scissors on top. Okay, let me place this. I'll place this on top like this. I'm going to mark now. As I said, when marking, make sure you are moving your hand. But if you don't move your hand around, if you, for instance, you are marking this area and you're not moving your hand, it might shift away, and that will give you some kind of errors. So I'm going to move this to this side. Checking. This here, still marking. So you can see it's moving around. Because my fine is blowing so hard. This piece is hot, so I can't put off the fine. So once I finish marking the outside, I'll mark the inside too. I'll move this to this part. This pattern is very easy to, in fact, the patterns are very easy to draft. So I'm going to be explaining them. And I'll move this. Just make sure that the lines are straight. It's not moving on you. It seems to be moving right now. So let me arrange it in place. Okay. Alright, put this on my side. Okay. I'm going to be using my ruler to kind of straighten these marks out before I cut. There are some parts I didn't mark rather. So I'm just going to straighten them out. I'm going to be cutting. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut this smaller parts out so that it will be easy for me to work with. That's what I usually do. You don't have to work with the bigger pieces of stabilizer. So this is the final cutout. After this will be done. So just make sure you pay attention to the cutout. This is the frame of the bag, which is this part. Remember, we are making a flap of the bag, which is this part that has leather parts on it. And what I'm going to be using for this part is this green material. And for the Ankara print, this Ankara print, I'm using this one, African print or Ankara print for the bag. It's going to turn out very fine, guys. So I'm just going to be cutting out now. I said before, my scissors is blunt, so if you use a better and a sharper scissors, it will be very easy for you to cut. Please, you can ask any question. Like, this is an opportunity. You ask me any question I will answer. But if you ask me outside this life, I might not answer you, because I will appreciate when you are on live with me and you're asking questions. As a beginner, if you have any issue, you can use that opportunity to ask me live. So to show my appreciation, I'm just going to answer your question. So remember, we are cutting this frame. We are cutting it for the bag. Again, this part of it. So what am I going to cut this out? What I'm going to do, I'll just fold this into something like this. Then I'll cut a notch. See? So now I'll start cutting out now. See what I'm doing? Like a trick. Guys, can you see the way I'm cutting it out? Very easy to follow. So one good thing about live streaming is you are seeing everything the way I'm doing it. If I'm making mistakes, you will see it. If I'm doing the correct thing, you will see it. So always make sure you follow me live. You are going to benefit, I promise you. You might want to, you might like the edited parts, but to me, I feel the live streaming is better. Can you see the live? I'm sorry. Can you see the frame? So is this frame that you're going to be wrapping your material on? Okay. So it's just going to come. Let me just show you what it's going to be. Let me show you the part. Assuming this one is this part. So it's just going to come out like this, right? I've showed you severally anyway. It's going to come out like this. It's going to be the flap of the bag. Okay, it's going to be very, very fine, guys. So that will be the end of this live streaming. For those of you followed up, thank you. I'm grateful. And my advice to you is to always make sure you follow me on live streaming, because when you ask any question, I will answer your question. But aside from live streaming, you ask any question, I'm not going to answer, because it's not easy to stay with me when streaming live. Thank you for today. So I'm in Nigeria. The time is like 2 a.m. now. I'm filming like 2 a.m. now. Alright, so I'm just going to sleep now. Right, bye and have a nice day. Make sure you subscribe, share this video, and make sure you give me a thumbs up if you like any of my video. Thanks for watching, and bye.